a very special episode of the Xbox Passport, presented by Xbox Canada, the podcast all about the best value in gaming, Xbox Game Pass. I'm Leah Jewer, and joining me on this voyage is my friend and yours, the blind gamer, Steve Saylor. Hi, Steve. How's it going?
Hi, Leah. It feels like we've been talking a lot this week, and
we probably have been.
and it's been great, obviously, because we get to play games and do cool stuff. So I'm just excited that we get to talk about what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh yeah, and this is a game that I've been waiting for since it was announced, because I love Minecraft and everything there is about Minecraft. So when they announced Minecraft Legends was coming out and was a thing and it was going to exist, I was super stoked. So this is like one of my highlights of the year. Just putting it out there.
Wow, that's saying something.
I'm looking for this year. Yeah. So thanks so much to Xbox Canada for helping us with providing the code for us to be able to do this review today. And I'm really excited because you and I have been playing this co-op. We've been playing this solo, and I want to get into it and talk about all that is Minecraft Legends. Yeah.
Can we just take a moment real quick, though?
Yeah, sure.
This is our very first review of our podcast.
That's true. It is, isn't it?
I just wanted to say that out loud, just to kind of be like, hey, this is a momentous occasion. This is the first review.
It really is. And it's not like it's the first review you and I have done before together either. It's the first official one of this show. Yes.
Right.
So getting the chance to finally deep dive on a game is super exciting because, we do that all the time anyway, just for fun on the side.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. So let's dive into Minecraft Legends. And before we actually, because we have listeners, we have a full outline of this. We have notes upon notes upon notes. But I want to be able to at least get your initial thoughts of the game, just kind of like your general overview. What did you think of the game?
So far, I am super stoked with it. I really enjoy it. It feels like Minecraft with a different spin. I like it in a way that it felt like I was getting on the bicycle for the first time, but it was just but it was just a different color. I didn't feel out of place. I knew the overarching concepts already because I've been such a fan of Minecraft for so long that it made it really easy to jump in, and then it started scratching all the itches that I have for action strategy games that just made my day. So far, very impressed. How about you?
Okay. I liked it. We should probably say up front that we have not completed the entire campaign, and we will talk about this a little bit later. But we didn't really get a chance to do any PvP aspects because they were gracious enough to kind of allow some of the reviewers to sort of try it out, but we just never could really line up with some of the other reviewers to play it against each other. But I will say, I'm not a hardcore Minecraft fan. I love the game. I do play it when I can, but it's also kind of whenever sort of the mood strikes me. So jumping into this added a little bit of an extra spin that I was interested in, especially when it was announced, because Dungeons was cool, but it didn't really capture me as much as I wanted it to. Whereas with Legends, when it was announced, I was like, okay, this might be the thing that I want to be able to try. And jumping into it, it definitely was different than what I expected. I don't know why I expected it to be like an RPG. I don't know.
Really?
I just thought it was like an action RPG. I did not even think about the strategy aspect of it. So it kind of took me by surprise when I jumped in and I was like, oh, this is a lot different. But that being said, I think that it's a little bit of a learning curve up front, especially if you've never played any action strategy games before. But once you get it, once you kind of get into the flow of it, it does become a lot easier to jump in and just be able to play. And there's a lots to be able to do with different strategies for different things that you will be doing. And I think that let's just say this. it's very rare for me to be able to review a game because I usually do a review of an accessibility review. And by the way, if you're wondering, I will be doing a separate video of an accessibility review on this channel, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@SteveSaylor. So I won't be touching about accessibility in this. I will be touching on it there. But I will say that it's very rare for me to be able to want to keep playing the game after I've already reviewed it. And this, I definitely want to keep playing because I just want to be able to I want to take the piglins down. That's what I want to do. So I think I'm really I'm enjoying it more than I actually thought I would, which is saying something and then also kind of expected.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, coming at this as a fan of Minecraft, and I know that's going to be a question for a lot of people, how is this essentially, does this feel like it belongs in the Minecraft world? Does this game take the tropes, the essence, the thing, the crafting, the battles, the constructing, all that stuff that makes up the core of Minecraft, and does it work in this kind of a format? And for me, I think it does. You obviously have to take a spin on that, because obviously you're not digging down to the center of the earth like you do in the real game.
Sure.
But it does, and it's the spins that and the twists that it has taken to be able to get that essence of Minecraft in there has been pretty smart. Steve, we played Minecraft together, the two of us,
Yep.
so I know that you're familiar with the game. How do you feel about how they took some of the things that you're used to dealing with in Minecraft and putting that action strategy spin on it?
Yeah, taking the things that you would normally do in Minecraft and adding and sort of reincorporating that idea into the gameplay of this. I think that it works. And when you when you understand the concept, okay, you need to gather resources. You got to make sure that you're gathering wood, you're gathering stone, iron and coal. You need to be able to keep doing that. So that's something that is very one-to-one with Minecraft. Then you have to start building structures and building defenses so that basically the mobs don't come into any of your villages or your house. And that sort of is a one-to-one. Attacking bases, though, that's something that to me is definitely different and also building up defenses, like having towers that shoot arrows or things that sort of reinforce some of the building materials. That is something that is new, that it sort of isn't exactly a one-to-one. But I think, again, it's that once you get past the learning curve, it just becomes natural. I think, and I think you said it when we were playing, that there are also certain things that it's not exactly one-to-one with sort of the certain elements of Minecraft. I think you said that there was differences with the alloys and stuff like that.
Yeah. So maybe some of the stuff that you touched on when it's not one-to-one, there's certain things that I know after playing Minecraft for years that wood has a certain strength. Cobblestone is even stronger, and that kind of stuff when you're doing the upgrades in your villages and whatever, and that kind of stuff makes logical sense to me because that's how I know to play the game, right?
Sure.
If you want to make sure a creeper won't blow you up, encase yourself in a cobblestone house or obsidian or something like that, though I haven't really encountered obsidian in this game yet, so maybe that'll come later. But there are things definitely that language that where I would have thought, why didn't they do it this way and not that way? Which I'd love to, if we get a chance to talk to Leah again, ask her about this stuff. Because some of the language and some of the upgrades, you do get the ability at one point, because at different villages, you have the villagers will, after you save them, collect items for you. So to make it a little easier for you not have to go out foraging for gear all the time and stuff. And you can do an upgrade that essentially compiles that all into one box, or any box you open, you can get it, which is very similar to the concept of an ender chest in Minecraft, but they didn't call it that. But then it's different enough that I can understand why they didn't call it that. So it's like you start seeing certain things that they've brought in, and I don't know, maybe it's because they plan on creating something in the future that has more of a similarity to an ender chest or something like that. But that concept of having a linked inventory system that you can access anywhere from the same box, and it could be like, I would see my inventory, you would see your inventory, that would be different. It's similar, but not directly the same. And I think because of that, that's why, like, it's enough different that they decided to not call it an ender chest. They called it the, what was it? The joint villager chest, something like that. But it's close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough, right? And then with the LAs, you know, like they, you know, essentially do what you expect, but like having different colored ones. I don't think I've encountered different colored ones.
There
we
was
had a blue
yellow
one and a yellow one.
Yeah, there's a blue and a yellow one, which I thought was interesting. And that's something that is the Lays. That's something that's in Minecraft, because I don't recognize those.
Yeah, they're fairly new. Came out in the past few years. It was on one of the mobs actually that was voted on during a Minecraft Live. I remember it. I remember that Minecraft Live because it was during the pandemic. And I remember voting for the LA because it was the coolest idea to have a character, essentially a friend, you know, an ally who would go and you would ask, please go collect all these items. And they would bring them back to you and deposit them somewhere. And either they could bring them straight back to you, or you could direct them somewhere and essentially put them in a storage system or something. So having that kind of creature available to you to help throughout this game is great. And then now, you know, the spin on I believe it was the yellow ones that were the building allays that would actually construct the objects for you and the facilities and the buildings. You know, the concept of having someone who could help you build, I mean, that'd be pretty cool to cart the other direction. I was about to say, I mean, that's old school Minecraft.
I was about to ask, like, could you be like, are there certain things you would definitely want to be able to move from this game into like Bedrock Minecraft?
Yeah, there are definitely, I mean, characters. Can we just take the art style? Please.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I want this as a shader in Minecraft, please. Because it looks so good.
Someone's going to end up doing it.
Hopefully. Yeah, it will probably be available in the marketplace by like day 2 or day 1 or whatever.
Someone's working on it already, I'm sure.
Yeah. So as sort of the Minecraft fan, I guess in summary, you would say that it's not a huge leap to jump from, if you're a fan of Minecraft, to jumping into Minecraft Legends.
I think that's what made it easier for me to actually get into this, because I've talked about this before on my podcast, where like sometimes I have a lot of apprehension about starting a new game because it's all new systems, not being good, nervous about like messing something out and missing something that I'd want to do and not be able to like do 100% or get something perfect or whatever. Because I understood the framework in a sense, it made things a lot easier for me, like knowing that, oh, I get why we have to go and craft all these things. Oh, I get why they're putting that and that together. So it just made it a lot easier for me to learn the brand new mechanics, which were things like summoning golems and going to save villagers and villages by building forts around them, which is something I do in normal Minecraft, but yeah, I don't have like turret systems and stuff to help me with that.
Okay, well, I mean, that's actually a good segue into like we could talk about the gameplay. Now, you have it basically like like you've made the notes of that. It's in 3 different categories. There's in this game for gameplay. There's gather, build, and fight. Let's start with the gather. What do you do in this game as like when you're gathering?
Yeah, so if those are the 3 pillars, this is the starting one. This is where everything begins in Minecraft, is get stuff to make stuff to survive, right?
That's the ultimate description of Minecraft. Get stuff to make stuff.
Get stuff to make stuff. You can coin that. You can take it, Mojang, run with it. So yeah, this game, you have to go and collect wood. Collect stone, collect other items, which are in like stone and wood. You can find it anywhere.
Sure. But
other items that you need or other crafting materials, such as coal, iron, diamond, redstone, they're actually out in different areas and different biomes. And like similar to real Minecraft, all the biomes that you've come to know and love exist out there in the world. And yeah, you got to go and track down the items that you need, that you can find out in the world. And yeah, bring them back and start crafting and building things, make yourself upgrades and you know, provide for your villagers and stuff. But one of the things that's really interesting that's kind of different is usually you look at like diamond. Diamond has always been like the thing for Minecraft, right? Sure. The ultimate resource that you want to get. In this game, they took a spin on that, and now you have to collect prismarine. But really, the only way you can get prismarine is to go fight.
Yes.
Piglins.
Yeah.
So that's a very key element that you can't just really find in the wild too much. You can get it sometimes through villagers, but like, yeah, you need to go and battle in order to get some prismarine. So yeah, you need all of these items to be able to move forward in this game. And so that is why this is pillar number 1 of this game in my mind, is gather.
Yeah, and the good thing is that if you're in the campaign or even in the sort of the co-op or multiplayer, is that because all the worlds are procedurally generated, just like how Minecraft is, on the map it does tell you which areas have which materials that you need, so you don't have to like try to scramble, like look at through the entire map and be like, I just need redstone, where can I find redstone? And you're looking everywhere. It tells you which, like, you hover over the map and it tells you which areas have redstone, so you can go there and you can find it a little bit easier. So that is something actually I do wish they would put into Minecraft, because finding all that stuff is hard and I don't like it.
You start to learn in Minecraft where things are, and when you're getting to the weeds in it, and then if you fall down the rabbit holes of YouTubers like I do, and you start learning about like what layers you should be strip mining at to be able to find the most diamonds.
Right, yeah, you need to go like what?
And you're just like
20 down, 14 across, and I'm like, no, just tell me where to find diamond. That's all I want.
Just go down. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if you had that ability. But similarly to Minecraft, like, it's not like it's in that biome, that region, but you gotta, travel around and explore and try to find it.
Yeah.
And when you've mined it, it's gone. I haven't seen it come back, and sometimes I'll stumble on a spot that I was like, ooh, that could be, oh no, I already took that iron.
True.
So yeah, luckily you've got the villagers that'll help you out a little bit for filling your coffers a little bit if you're looking for some stuff. But yeah, you're gonna have to go far and wide to make sure you get all the resource materials that you need. Yeah,
and that kind of leads into like the two elements that kind of separate this game from regular Minecraft is, I think, and in similar 1-to-1 as well, but is the building and the fighting. And I want to talk about the building because that's something that's like that everyone familiar with Minecraft is familiar with, but in this it's more about like it's in a way it's kind of like similar to games that are like defense towers, or like kind of you're basically building up your defenses where like a horde of enemies are coming to attack it, and you have to make sure that you've defended your base properly in order for to keep it safe and keep it intact. And so I think actually that was kind of like my favorite part of the game. It was stressful. It was very stressful, especially when you're doing it in single player, like a solo in single player. But I think it was great to be able to kind of, at least with because there's villages with at least in the campaign, there are villages that you have to protect, and even the multiplayer base, you have bases that you have to try to protect as well. And you can build walls, you can build defense towers, you can build buildings that help make building even faster, or masonries that help make it like turn certain materials from like wood to stone, for example, which was really great. And you could be able to add even like special towers that you find in the world that essentially buff the defenses, or also can rebuff like mobs that like you can stun them so that you can be able to basically just go and hit them easier, or you can shock them, and some take minor damage, but most kind of like just basically just kind of keep them at bay, so it gives you enough chance to be able to find all the different mobs as it's trying to be able to attack the village, and be able to like take them out. And this happens every evening. It's like day-night cycle. and basically the night is when the piglins come out and they attack, and they attack at certain points. But the good thing is that the game tells you at the beginning of a day, hey, this village is going to be attacked. You need to go defend it. And that's where the building aspect comes in. What did you think of that aspect of the game?
I love that. That was like one of the pieces that was like, how are they going to make this work? And even in some of the times when we were seeing like the trailers and things like that, like it still hadn't really clicked with me understanding until we got into the weeds of it. And I started also, there's like a book inside that kind of shows your progress and things you can do and info about the things that you're building and stuff. And that the lore and information that's in there really helps break it down so that you understand what's going on. And as you experience more of these attacks and these evenings of chaos, where the piglin come at you, you start to realize what does what and how you should defend. So it's like, if you do have an evening where like, you know, you don't do the greatest job, your village starts to get damaged, your tower starts to get hurt, that kind of stuff, and you're able to at least survive the night, you realize, oh, well, I can build a carpenter's hut and it'll start to, you know, heal all these buildings. And then I'll build my fence around, and then I'll build the turrets to defend, so that if I can't get back there in time for some reason, at least the villagers have some semblance of a chance of surviving, right? So that I thought was really cool. And then I think where I appreciated the building, and it was more along the animations of how things were built and the design around the buildings and the facilities. I've spent a lot of time on YouTube watching creators build in creative mode, you know, cool building structures, cottagecore huts, you know, like grand castles. I spent tons of time watching the Hermitcraft crew in all of their different videos and different characters that they're playing and all that kind of stuff, and what they're building and making in games. And just seeing how they put that, not only the design of the buildings, but even watching how the allays assemble the structures looks like those YouTube videos that I've been following for years and watching and appreciating, and also using as tutorials on how to build things myself. So I think there was a lot of care put into that side of things, and a lot of attention paid to how creators are doing things and showing off their builds and their creative skills and construction in Minecraft. I know there are definitely some things that I've seen in some of the builds that I'd be like, I would love to have that in real Minecraft. But there's a lot of stuff that just feels like you're in the middle of the game normally, and I could build that item and it would look great in my little village that I'm building for myself. Yeah, right?
And you could definitely see the amount, like that system alone could almost be its own separate game in and of itself. And a lot of times actually games like defense games are kind of like designed just around that only. And what I like that is that it opens up the idea that for future updates that they could add in, oh, this hut does this to your villages, and it can sort of help kind of like make it even better and make it even stronger, or like give you more resources, that kind of thing. And that's another thing too, is that another aspect of the build is your well, which is kind of like your main central hub that essentially allows you to upgrade your resource gathering, your building of things, and allowing you to collect even like more resources and build more mobs, that kind of stuff. And that is also a way to kind of also keep upgrading your building materials as you go, including when you get into the fighting aspect, which I was like also surprised by. It's not my favorite aspect of the game because I think that's more stressful than the defense aspect. But in this, what was interesting is that not only are you having to defend your villages, but you're also having to attack piglin outposts and bases too. And part of the building aspect is that you're also building these sort of like spawners, where essentially has like different golems that you're producing, but then at a certain point you can be able to unlock different mobs from Minecraft, which was so weird to be able to hear like the zombies and the creepers and the skeletons around you and not immediately want to run away.
I cannot, like, I have like a visceral reaction anytime I hear that sound, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm
it's
just
like, oh, gotta run away, it's gonna explode.
And like when you're surrounded by 20 creepers, and I'm not gonna lie, the creepers are the most fun to play with because they are just instant kill.
They
almost
are
like
OP.
if they can get to the not get like beat down by the time they get to the portal or whatever you're trying to blow up, like they are wicked. But yeah, it's just like, it's so weird walking around and just constantly hearing the jingle jangle of the skeletons, or you know, the moaning of the zombies, or then that's, and where you think you're gonna blow up and you're like, no, those are my friends now.
Yeah, they're friends. They're friendly.
I like them now. And then the golems are really cool too. Like they all of these creatures, allies that you end up constructing to help you out, because some of them can be found out in the wild and you can collect them as you go, but then other ones, if you're gonna want to like build spawners, they take resources, and building the golems and building the allies does take resources. So another reason why you need to be out crafting, not just to build defense, but also to be able to power forward and attack. And you know, going through and building them, each of them, like reading through the lore book and realizing that, oh, certain ones are really good at taking down buildings. Other ones are really good at fighting on the mobs. Other ones have healing capabilities or debuffs, you know, like in that kind of stuff, or to take off status ailments that you might have on a character or something like that. Like there's one, the mossy one, where his like arms spin around and water goes. So if you've got like characters on fire, he'll put them out, because that happens.
I love that. Actually, that's kind of my favorite. It almost feels like a sprinkler, just kind of like just going
like
around.
A sprinkler.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that side of it, which is really fresh and new, that I was, you know, having a lot of fun with, to like just start to learn the strategy. Okay, like, what is my game plan? If I'm defending, then I want these characters. Do not want anything that'll explode, right? So skeletons
you don't want
are
creepers
great
when you're defending a village. No.
But if I'm going after and attacking piglin, and especially if I'm trying to take down a portal, or they're, you know, like towers that are shooting arrows at me, or those like things that were taking up like poisonous gas or whatever, I figured it out. Sending 3-4 creepers, boom, that thing was gone. Sending 20 creepers after a portal is just like a big old explosion.
Exactly.
So, like, that's what I found really fun, and guaranteed you heard me cackling as I was doing that over voice chat.
Every time, like the listeners, we were playing this together, and we were just like we wouldn't see each other like as we were playing, because we were like on different opposite ends of the base. But all of a sudden, I would just hear like Leah just cackling, being like, "Oh, dude, I know exactly what she was doing," which was
yes, the creepers, they're mine now.
Once we unlocked that, it was like game over for the piglins, because they were down. But that's interesting too, because like the piglins in these bases, depending on the size of them, because there are bases that are very, very like powerful, and some, like we couldn't even get to we actually in the part of the game where we couldn't even get to a point where we were powerful enough or have enough resource enough to be able to take down one of those huge bases. But the outposts and the different sort of bases that they have, we could be able to take down. But it was interesting, depending on where, like how small they are, or on size, basically. Most of the time, you're basically having to try to take down the portal, which is basically sending in more piglins into your world. And it is in a way, like when you're looking at the outposts, you have to take down each little building, which could either be spawners for more piglins, basically like Leah said, like a gas thing that basically kind of expands out and poisons gas and can damage you, or there's towers, and you usually have to take them down like one at a time, or you have to take them down in order to be able to take out that outpost. But when you go to in the bases that have portals, you could just like your goal is you have to take down that portal. You can take down the other elements like the towers or the spawners, whatever. But your main goal is you have to try to take down that portal, and so that it also adds an extra layer of strategy, because you could technically sneak in on an area where it's not fully defended, and then just send in all your troops and then duck away, get more troops, send them all back in again, and take out the portal. Because once the portal's down, the entire base like explodes or is done. So there is that. So even if the base seems overwhelming, you don't have to take out everything, just enough to be able to attack the portal and you're good to go.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm still like testing the waters with this, because I'm trying to figure out, like, as I try to, because I love min-maxing these types of games and stuff. I'm not sure yet, because as you're defeating piglin buildings, some of them give you prismarine, not all of them. And like I said in the beginning, prismarine seems like the only way to get it is to go battle piglin, and you need it to make some of the really, really good upgrades.
Yes.
So what I was trying to figure out as we were playing, and I was trying to test these waters, doing it myself, also us playing together, is whether it was more efficient to go and take out all the towers to make sure I could get the prismarine and then blow up the portal, or to go in and blow up the portal and then try and race around before the prismarine disappeared and all the other buildings.
Right.
So still haven't figured that one out yet on what the best plan of attack is. But what's cool is just to know is like, you just want to blow up the piglin, you're done your upgrades, you don't really, you don't care. Just go after the portal, send in some creepers, send in some zombies, let them just take it all out.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to, like I'm telling you, like listeners, like I'm not kidding. The creepers are very OP. You just send a whole bunch of them in, see that little portal health meter go down quick, and you're just like, yep, no, that's it, we're good to go. Which is really great, and also even comparison to other games of this. Of like the action strategy, and that's what like Blackbird Interactive, who developed the game with Mojang, what they're known for. But there are sort of similarities to other strategy games. So, like in my mind, it's sort of similar to like a lot of RTSs, like Age of Empires, Civilization, and even like Gears Tactics to a degree. But the difference is in this one is that essentially, instead of sort of having an overview of all of your units of different soldiers or different like heroes or champions, in this you are the champion, you are the hero, and you could basically send like a little army of mobs into an area or a building or the portal to be able to take something out, but you don't have an overview of everything. You basically have only the control of just the one hero, which does separate it from a regular RTS in a way, and it is an interesting concept. But I like Leah, like you said there was a comparison that you had of games that you thought it was comparable to.
Yeah, sometimes it really felt like Pikmin, and then sometimes it felt like StarCraft. But it was really that hero mechanic that kind of set it apart from everything else. And it's almost like you're a general of an army, and you can still go in and do some fighting. And I think that's maybe the concept is of like being a leader and trying, and obviously you're sending these guys off to battle and perish, but that, it is what it is. But the thing is as a leader, it was more important for me to direct the strategy rather than get in there and fight. You can get in there and fight. You're not going to do any damage against, the buildings. You can kill off the smaller piglin. You can do a little bit of damage to some of the other big piglin. But honestly, your best tactic is to stay out of the line of fire and go and send your allies to go in and battle for you and direct how you want this task to be accomplished. Because you have a health bar, you can die. We did it. You respawn then, and actually there are facilities that you can construct so that if you're going to take on something big and you don't want to respawn like many biomes away, you can make a facility so that you respawn there as close as possible. But still, you want to try and stick out the fight as long as you can to maximize your time and that and keep your allies and the villagers alive as long as you can. So your time and your strategy is best spent trying to direct how the chaos unfolds rather
it's almost
than getting
sort
into
of
the
like
fray.
It's kind of almost like demigod mode. It's like you're in charge of everything, like you would in RTS. But your best strategy is to just send your mobs in and take them out, because that was the strategy that I was going for. In that, I would send the mobs in to destroy the buildings, which you as a hero you can't destroy them. You can't damage any buildings or structures. You can only damage or hit the piglins themselves. So what I would do is I would just send in my mobs to take out the buildings, and then anytime that there was like any piglins around, I would basically fight them off so my mobs won't die, so that I could be able to keep sending them to attack other buildings or whichever. So that is a very viable strategy to a degree. But if you're finding that, you know what, you're just sending a bunch of mobs, and you can basically just stay on the perimeter of the entire base and just kind of keep sending in mobs, you could definitely do that. And that's the whole point of why I think there's a lot of replayability with this, because not only is it like procedurally generated worlds every single time you create a new campaign or go into co-op or multiplayer, but it allows you to sort of like come up with different strategies on how to be able to take them out, whether you're doing it single player, co-op, or like as a PvE sort of situation, which was really cool.
Or for the time that the chuckles came out of Steve is when he got the ability to build structures that would attack. That's when you heard Steve get excited. He was like, I just made a grenade or a launcher for like a catapult out of redstone. And then Steve started chuckling in the background. So I was on the creepers, he was on the fighting machine.
Yeah, because at one point, like, yes, as we said, you could take down the portals in these bases, but at a certain point the piglins wise up and they have to they realize, we need to defend these portals, so they build up towers that basically have shields around these portals that you have to take out. So when we unlocked the ability to create a redstone catapult, where you could, and the cool thing is you can actually be able to control where that catapult is throwing projectiles to, you could just aim it at a tower or a structure and just fire and just let it keep going until it like sort of it dies out, and then you have to wait for it to sort of boot back up again or cool down essentially. And it's great. It's a lot of fun. That's where the strategy, you could sort of stay out on the outskirts and just basically pummel different areas of the outposts or the bases, and then just send in your mobs, because once you kind of unlock that, you have the ability to sort of find what different strategies that work for you. And yeah, I will admit, it did make me cackle quite a bit. It was great.
And that's where the co-op's fun, right? Because I like playing a certain way, you like playing a certain way, but we were strategic. We'd go up against big bases and then be like, okay, I'm gonna go do this. Okay, I'm gonna go do this. And then it would make things a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that, and let's jump actually into, and we had notes about like the campaign and the co-op, but I think we should pretty much combine them both, because we basically experienced the campaign together pretty as much. Co-op. Yeah. So the campaign basically, if you are wondering whether or not you can, I know that a lot of people or a lot of outlets have been talking about the PvP aspects, which I think is going to add a ton more replayability than just the single player campaign. But there is a single player campaign. There is a story that you can be able to play, and you can be able to play co-op. It's similar in jumping into a co-op, like as Leah said, like a server that in Minecraft, but also, I don't know why, like it has this sort of like a Sea of Thieves kind of like style. You could have up to 4 players basically join you, and you can, I don't know, like that menu like structure, like it was like, oh, this is like Sea of Thieves. Anyway, but the whole point of the story is that piglins are now attacking the Minecraft world, and there are these 3 new characters that basically equip you or help you out by giving you research. They've researched different things and upgrades and different ways to take out the piglins, and you are the hero that gets to utilize those upgrades. Basically, in Batman, like Lucius Fox, like they're the Lucius Fox to your Batman, and there's characters called Foresight, Knowledge, and Action. I don't, Leah, what did you think of the 3 of them? Because I loved those 3.
I think they're great. Yeah, I loved how they were voice acted. Like, obviously, that's something that's fairly new to Minecraft, is having some sort of voice acted character. I don't remember in Dungeons if there was voice acting. Not that I remember. But yeah, having these 3 characters who are almost like I wanted to call them like spirit guides, because even in the world they were kind of ethereal. Like you went to their world and then they came to this world to help you out, but then they kind of look like space beings, like they're kind of translucent and stuff.
Like Obi-Wan, like Force ghosts.
Exactly, they're Force ghosts. So yeah, they were pretty cool, and yeah, they would always, like, if you're off doing something, giving you tips, sending you reminders, being like, hey, you got lots of Prismarine now, maybe you should come back to the well and build an upgrade, you know, like that kind of stuff. So that was really cool, and I love their like style, like the aesthetic they were done in. It was trippy at first that the tiny character had like the big voice, the booming voice, and then the big character sounded like a child. So that kind of like tripped me out a bit, because I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. But yeah, they so well done in the performances, and like super cool aesthetic, and they're very helpful to kind of guide you through this experience and to remind you that there are things you can do, and to let you know that a village is at risk, and kind of help you along this journey that you're on together.
Yeah, because when you start the campaign, there is a tutorial, which we do, like, you do that before you even jump into the main game. And I honestly, I think the guides that you get, I would probably recommend, if you are going to play the single player first. Because if you're going to jump into multiplayer, it's a lot. There is sort of a bit of a tutorial for that, but it's a lot to take in if you're just jumping into multiplayer right away. But if you jump into single player, the guides kind of like really are good at sort of like doling out tool tips and information as you need it, and as you grow as sort of this hero, and develop these new upgrades and stuff like that, because they really do help you figure out. So it's not like you're just jumping into the world and they're like, okay, see ya, do what you can do best, and I'm like, I don't even know what I can do best. So I do like that they're essentially there to help you, and it kind of feels like that you're partnering with them as you're trying to be able to take out the piglins together. So which is really great. And I think, honestly, even though you can set the difficulty at any given time throughout the game, we were both playing on sort of the easier difficulty. And I don't know about you, but I have a hard time thinking that the further you get into the game, it would be hard to play as a single player. It almost is like it's designed that you should play this as co-op. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, so I get where you're coming from there. And what's interesting about this is it's similar to other, like, Minecraft itself. Like, if you say, so the way that our kind of gameplay sessions went is that Steve had his world and I would jump into his world.
Yes.
So I would make an impact and help him move forward. But as soon as I left, he had his world and could continue forward as it is. I had my own kind of story mode kind of happening at the same time. And maybe where I found it easier is the fact that you and I pushed ahead as a duo so far that when you went to do it as yourself on your own, it was probably just getting to be too much because you weren't used to thinking as, oh, it's just me doing this. Now, in my game, and I was replaying, so it's almost like a second time around, relearning the mechanics, getting some of the prompts again and stuff like that, that I was like, okay, now I am starting to understand and get the nitty gritty of this. So after maybe the first playthrough on the base level mode, I think they call it, there's a different name on it. It's not like easy. It's called something else. But anyways, once you get through that, maybe going the second time and going to the next difficulty, or then the one after that, because I understand what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not fumbling around. I know, okay, the first base thing is like, let's just get the bases or the villages encased in wood, set up some turrets so that at least I've got the base level of protection that can help me out, and then slowly do the upgrades, right? But like when you're first coming into it, you don't know that. And it's expected for you not to know that. That's the point. You need to stumble around and figure it out. So that, I think, was probably one of the things that maybe hindered you a bit after I would leave your game, to like try and jump in and continue moving forward. But I bet you if you started another session with like a new world, you would find it. You'd be like, oh yeah, I get this now. This is easy now.
Yeah, because I do, like, when I first started out, like I was learning as the game kind of went on, and then like Leah basically jumped in like sort of shortly after I kind of got sort of used to the world and the outposts and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. I think the where I sort of saw it as the co-op helps is in regards to when the mobs are attacking your villages, or when you're having to attack like larger bases, because there is a strategy there for both, that it was hard for me to think about that you could do this single player, because it's a lot, especially like like either there's just so many mobs that are attacking your village at the same time, you can't sort of be everywhere at once, so you have to make sure that your defenses are up to snuff to be able to take them out, and or when you're attacking the bases, there's just a lot of mobs being constantly created, and there's a lot of things that are hindering you from either taking out a portal or taking out like different towers or whichever. That it was hard for me to sort of think about like a cognitive way that would make sense for a player to try without feeling overwhelmed. And I can definitely think that there are going to be moments when you're playing this where you would be overwhelmed. But I think you're right. I think you just have to sort of take it and attack it a little bit slower than you normally would, like if you were with friends. With your friends, like you could especially you're attacking a base, you can just say, okay, just go after the portal, like, and you could send so many mobs in and it would take them out within minutes. But when you're doing it single player, you have to kind of try to figure out like, okay, what is a back way to kind of get in and sort of sneakily get in and almost in a way kind of create a stealth way to be able to attack the portal. But you're right. I think it's like it depends, like your strategies would be different per. I just think that there definitely are moments where it would be a bit overwhelming with just the amount of stuff that you have to do.
Yeah, and I did have a few when I was playing in single player, especially going after. So in order for you to get the creepers, the zombies, the skeletons, they have a village. You need to go save them. Yeah. And there's this one point where it has a fairly big base, a piglin base to the side, and they've got characters, in there kind of destroying their village. And some of them are very huge. Like there's ones that look like big, almost like elephants, but they're huge pigs, right? So like the size of elephants. And yeah, battling those is a challenge. So you need to like make sure you have the right characters that can help do that. Then once you're through that piece, then continue moving forward and take on the base. So like that can get pretty overwhelming. And like the thing is though, is there's no harm in dying. You don't lose you don't lose the progress that you've made. I mean, the worst comes to worst is, like you're far away and you got to warp closer or trek closer to where you have to fight. But you don't, like, I haven't encountered a thing where I died and it was totally detrimental besides the few minutes running back to the fight.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not like a roguelike where basically you die and then everything gets reset, which is nice. So
yeah.
But there are opportunities for you that if you are taking a lot of damage, and you can definitely see it on screen when like essentially like the kind of the world sort of fades into like almost a black and white, and it's like, okay, you have to get out, otherwise you're gonna die within one hit. So you can sort of like get out and then wait for your health to reheal, and then you can go back in, which is great. So yeah, I think it just involves a strategy switch compared to when you're doing it single player and when you're doing it co-op. Now, like as far as I don't know about you, are there any negatives about this game? Because I was trying to think of some, and I actually do have some negatives in regards to the accessibility. I wish it was a little bit more accessible than I did, but like I said, I have a accessibility review on my channel about it. But I want to know, is there things that you wish were different or that you may have not liked about the game?
Not too much as of yet. What I'm curious to see is how repetitive it gets, in the fact that like sometimes, having once again to go and get iron because I want to build a specific thing, and I can only carry 300 at a time, in a building that I want to make is 200. Like, go out and find iron again. Like sometimes that can get a bit tedious. But I'm not in the point where it's totally frustrating me or anything, or maybe there's something at some point that makes that easier. I don't know. Maybe we're just not far enough in the game yet. It did take me a little bit of time to learn the controls. I kept confusing myself with the two trigger buttons, which would do which. So like take it slow at the beginning because you don't want to accidentally build something when you're actually meaning to tell your creepers to go attack, because I've done that. But I'd say the only thing that if I could have some kind of improvement and it may make it easier, I don't know, is I would love to have like a little mini map of some sorts. Because we were talking about this earlier. When you're defending a village, there is a map compass thing that kind of goes across the top of the screen. And kind of wherever you're facing, if you turn, you start to see things in different directions. As hordes of penguin are coming at you, you can see what direction based on the banner that's coming up and then go towards that. It would have been cool if you had like almost like a little mini map and you can kind of see them come in on your base, a bit. Like I'm thinking about the way that the map kind of worked in Minecraft a little bit when you would have that and as you held it up, you can kind of see and kind of seeing your structure being built as well. That was always something that I liked in Minecraft is if you created a map and looked at it, it would show you as things were right then and you could freeze them. So if you were progressively building up your village or whatever, you could freeze a map to have where you started to where you finished and maybe all the steps in between, which I always thought was really cool. So maybe if they had like a tiny little map like that in the corner to make it easier to be like, oh, there are definitely penguin coming in from the north. We should go over there because there's a hole in the wall. That kind of thing. That would have helped out a bit. But we made it work. We stumbled around.
Sure.
So but I would say that would be like the only real thing on my end that I wouldn't mind seeing improvement on. Is there anything you want to speak to? Even though I know you're going to deep dive into the accessibility stuff, is there anything you'd like to chat about just in advance, like a teaser of sorts?
Yeah, I will say that there are definitely accessibility features that do help, but it doesn't really hit on all the things that certain disabled players would need. I think it probably more excels in a way for, say, deaf and hard of hearing players, because there is sort of a lot happening, but there are still things even missing for them as well. So I think just overall, there's good accessibility in there, but not full accessibility, if that makes sense. And I would say like the things that kind of I wish just in general gameplay that was hard was kind of similar to what you were talking about in regards to the mini map, but also I would almost suggest on top of that would be sort of an alternative camera view, because there were a lot of moments where I just wanted a quick overview of where like mobs were coming from if we're defending a base, or just a better way to scout ahead the bases themselves and trying to figure out the layout so that you can figure out what is sort of the best strategy to take the bases out, especially as the bases get bigger. Sometimes the draw distance doesn't allow you to see what is up, like what is within a base. And because at least in our world, the bases were built almost inside canyons, so you can never really fully tell where each structure was, unless you were able to build up a ramp to get up to the top of the canyon and then look down. But by that point, you're technically already in the center of the base. So it is hard to determine the best strategy to take out a base, other than just sort of trying to find the most like the easiest way in or the less defensible way in, and just kind of exploit that. So I kind of wish that there was a bit more of a larger camera view, even actually when you're building too, because there were moments because whenever Leah and I would actually defend a village, I would be the one to build the walls and the gates, and Leah would build like the sort of the attack, like the arrow towers and stuff like that, and the masonries and the construction buildings. But I found it was hard for me to know where to place my walls and my gates, because of just where the camera is, and I want to be able to see, okay, like, am I lining this up right? Am I over top of something that I shouldn't be building? Like, it sort of does a good job of telegraphing where it should go, but I wish I just had a little bit more of an expanded camera view, so that I know I'm getting the right spot, as it were, the most effective spot. So that's something I think that was hard to get into. And I think also as well, kind of going back to what I was saying before, it is a little bit overwhelming, and it is a bit of like a steep learning curve at first. Once you get it, it kind of does become a little bit second nature. There were moments where it was hard, like I would accidentally hit the wrong button of things I wanted to do, like whether it was accidentally getting into the resource gathering menu instead of the building menu, or I would actually I want to be able to build a spawner, like a mob spawner, and I'm accidentally in the upgrades menu, and you do have that by hitting the D-pad up, left, right, or down, and there are times I would forget, like it takes a little bit of a cognitive load to figure out, oh shoot, I'm in the resource gathering menu. Okay, I need to build stuff right now, and especially when you're in attack mode or in defense mode and everything's happening all at once quickly, it is hard to when you make that one mistake, it can be a detriment to either your base or your attacking strategies. So I found that was a little bit of a difficult learning curve, even with co-op. I think co-op kind of helped sort of like allow me to focus on what my task was. But if you're single player, you're having to basically figure out everything. You're having to build defend everything and attacking all the mobs that are coming after it, or also making sure that when you're attacking bases that your mobs are in the right spot, or you're not kind of putting yourself into danger with other mobs trying to attack you and kind of pincering you in. So I think there's a lot there to like. And what I'm basically saying is kind of a little bit more of nitpicks or more quality of life improvements that I hope that the teams will be able to make. So, but it doesn't. I think it's a good game overall.
Yeah. The thing is, hearing what you're saying, I have ideas from Minecraft of how they could put some of these things in there.
Oh,
so like. First off, they added all these new mounts into the game.
Yes.
One of them is a bird.
Yes.
Make the bird fly. He floats now, so like you don't crash or whatever, because you can like take fall damage and whatever else if you're on your horse or whatever.
Yeah.
And like there's one that looks like a beetle, I want to say, and then there's like a tiger, and then but the one's a bird, like a toucan, and like that could fly. But the other one, and they may have plans for this later. True. But like the elytra.
The elytra, yes. There's no of that.
Essentially, the cape, the Superman cape. So, like, maybe later they will put that in there as like a strategic thing, which then I think the Pinkling could have like its earth to air missiles to take you out and make it so that you couldn't figure out what was going on. Like that could be kind of interesting as a concept to bring into this. So maybe they have a redstone launcher and they can throw a cannon at you as you're flying around the base on your elytra trying to scout out, okay, they've got a base, like a big turret tower up here on the north side, and then the portal's right in the middle, and they got the poison thing over on the right, and like, there's potential there because they are drawing on an IP that's been around for 10 plus years now that has a lot of mechanics that they could readapt. And knowing how much Minecraft is updated constantly and how much love has been given to Minecraft Dungeons, they're gonna keep upgrading Minecraft Legends as time goes on.
Yeah, there's definitely a potential for obviously like future kind of regular updates, as Minecraft is known to do, like they've been doing that with Dungeons, and so like you can definitely see that with this. And plus also, now we didn't really touch on the multiplayer aspect of the game because again we said that we didn't really jump into that. It was harder to find sort of other players to be able that were playing at the same time as we did, but we do want to be able to say that essentially they found, or at least from other people that we've talked to, is that they found it kind of harder to organize when you're kind of like in a cohesive team of players to like, because you have to have one person do resource gathering, one does defense, one does scouting and all that stuff. So it's kind of hard for that. And then it also can be hard to coordinate unless you're kind of like all know each other. But I think that with the multiplayer, it does add that extra sort of replayability that will keep kind of players coming back. So if they keep adding updates to it, I can definitely see that there were probably some things that they wish they could have probably added to the game, but just didn't have enough time for launch, so that they probably are planning for post launch. So you're right. Like the elytra would be a great addition, or making technically the toucan fly, or the telescope. Or
Like
the
there's so
telescope,
many things that they've
exactly.
added over the past few years that could totally fit in there. But what I like about this is now, Steve, you and I have been playing this for a while now. We get some of our friends that also start playing. We figure out what their niche is, just like if they were playing any other strategy game like Overwatch or whatever. What do they like to do? We know you like the building, so that you focus on that. I like the attack, so I go focus on that. Someone else goes and does all our resource gathering for us, and we divide and conquer, right? And then once we built everything up, we're as secure as we can be. We just go all out attack, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that has so much pre-built fun in it, just because we can each kind of gravitate to the thing that we, it scratches the itch that we like the most, right?
Sure.
So when the time comes and we can get a crew together to truly play a full PvP match, I think we're gonna be pretty powerful.
I think so too. And the great thing too is that there is a lot of replayability. We talked about the procedurally generated worlds. Yep. That is also in multiplayer too. So it's not like you're gonna be jumping in with other more experienced players and them knowing the terrain and you don't. It's literally gonna be different every single time you jump into a PvP match. So there is that aspect to it, which is like gonna be interesting to try out now, like post launch and seeing how players are kind of adapting to it and learning from it. Because you're right. I think if you could find a good crew, you would be good. But I think with the random matchmaking, it's kind of like trying to jump into Overwatch and you being told by another player you need to play Mercy because they need a healer and you've never played Mercy before, and and you're like, I've never played a healer before, so I don't know what to go on. But you're pressured to be able to play Mercy because everyone else is choosing everything else. And I'm not saying this from experience. No, not at all.
Steve, I want to build. You go fight piglets.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you go fight resources. I'm like, fine. See if I help. I'm just gonna go sit on a hill and just watch you die. That's what happened.
And hey, if that's the way you want to play, go for it. Let chaos reign.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that is totally up to you. All right. So again, we're kind of at an hour. So I think we discussed this. We've chewed the fat of it when it comes to this game. So Leah, what are your sort of overall kind of concluding thoughts? And because this is brand new, we've never done review scores on this podcast before, so this is the first time we're doing a review score. What do we say about like kind of like giving it like a score out of 5? And what would you sort of give this game out of 5? And actually, you know what, like for you listening or watching, why don't you tell us what that 5 is? Is it 5 stars? Is it 5 Maple Leafs? Is it 5 Xbox controllers? Or is it 5 Timbits? 5 Timbits? I don't know. Leave a suggestion, either in the comments or leave us a review on any podcast platform to tell us what should we call this sort of scale of 5, as it were. So, Leah, what are your thoughts, and then what score would you give this?
Okay, so kind of final conclusion thoughts wrapped up all into one. When I know I really like a game is when I can't stop thinking about a game, to the point where, like, especially in Minecraft on its own, OG Minecraft is one of these where I don't just want to play. I also want to be looking at builds on Instagram. I also want to be watching people play on YouTube and all this kind of stuff. And I was dying over the course of this review period, wishing that this was out live and I had all the analysis and videos and min-maxing stuff and everything that I could go and consume at the same time. So when I get obsessed with a game, I go full tilt. And that is what I want to do with this one, and I cannot wait for it to be out for everybody else to play so that we can all be talking about it at the same time, because I am so excited. I have to give this a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Whatever, rating, how we're doing the stars, Xbox controllers, all that jazz. And the reason why is because I feel like there's so much more they can add to it that will just make it that 5 out of 5 when time comes. It just, right now it has everything that I need in a really, really excellent game that I know is going to get better over time. And the more I play with it and the more that I have fun with my friends in it. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
How about you, Steve?
I think I agree in that it is a game that I am thinking about, that I do want to keep playing. Like I said, after launch, I still want to be able to keep playing this. So that is a good thing. As far as I think overall, I think I would want to give this a 4 out of 5, but I think I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Only just because there are definitely some accessibility that I wish could be improved. Again, if you want more of those details, go into my and more specifics, go into watching my accessibility review on YouTube. But I think that I would probably give this a 3.5 out of 5. It's great. I think it's something that is fun, even if like I'm not exactly a hardcore Minecraft fan. It's something that is different that I could definitely sink my teeth into, even for a long time post launch, and even if they add like extra stuff after launch as well too, to like different modes or whatever into this game. And I think that's something that I could definitely keep my eye on and wanted to enjoy. So I think with the gameplay, with the campaign, and the potential cool stuff you could do in PvP and in co-op modes, yeah, I would definitely say that, all that in mind, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, that pretty much concludes this very special first ever review on the show. So, of course, as always, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, where all podcasts are available, including Steve's YouTube channel at Steve Saylor for the video version of this show and all the other ones we're going to be releasing. Yep. If you've liked what you've heard, please give us a rating on the platform of your choice, or a review. It helps with discovery, pushes us up in the rankings, helps us build our show and know that we're doing the right thing. So much appreciated if you could do that. Also, you can always go on social media and speak with us. I'm at Leah Jewer. Steve is at Steve Saylor on most platforms, so you can go find us. And of course, as always, we want to know, what's your favorite Xbox Game Pass game that's live right now? You know, we want to know what you're playing. Give us recommendations of things you think we should be playing. We would much appreciate that. Lastly, share the show with your friends and your gaming party so that they can learn more about all there is to play on Xbox Game Pass, and spread the word. Thanks so much. Thank you, Steve. This has been awesome, playing through this game with you and going through this review process with you. It's exactly what I wanted to do when we decided to create this show, and it has been one heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, first review in the bag. Let's go. This is great.
Awesome. So thank you so much for watching and listening, or however you're consuming this podcast. Much appreciated. Until next time, when everybody plays, we all win. See you, everybody.
Bye.